Warning. This program may contain material of an explicit or graphic nature. Viewer discretion is advised.
Broadcasting undead from the B ward, this is the Post Mortem show. I'm Dom.
And I'm JD. And today, Fee, Fi, Fo Fum, we're going to bring you our top 5 horror movie giants.
Yeah. Fee, fi, fo, fucker.
I smell the blood of an English cunt.
Giant Miggs flicking a giant glob of jizz.
I wish Miggs was a giant. He would be my number one.
What if Andre the Giant played Miggs? I can
Miggs,
smell your cunt.
If you guys seen Silence of the Lambs, you'll remember Miggs is the guy in the sanitarium who throws the semen on her face, which she did not appreciate.
No.
Whatsoever.
No, nor should she.
You know who appreciated it? Me.
Yeah.
Miggs, you're funny. You're a funny guy, Miggs. Always with his practical jokes, you know. Miggs playing his little tricks, throwing semen on you when you're not looking.
That wacky Miggs.
Vintage Miggs. That's vintage Miggs right there. Throwing semen on me when I'm not looking.
Little sound clip. Do-do-do-do-do-do. Miggs. Every time.
Yeah, Miggs. Why did that come up on top 5 giants? I don't know, but
that should be just like randomly in things. Like Miggs appears like in the Notebook, and flings jizz in someone's face.
All right,
Miggs.
We got our top 5 horror movie giants, but before we get to that, we got a little bit of horror news for you. Horror news. So I'm going to start us off this week in our horror news with news that came to us from one of our listeners, Mark Bartlett. Shared an article in the Post Mortem Show Horror Movie Podcast official Facebook group.
Yeah.
An artist named Curtis Lohr has placed a statue of Jason Voorhees at the bottom of a popular Minnesota lake.
That's awesome.
It is. That's like the best kind of practical joke is the one that you'll never see the reaction, but you just do it, you know someone will see it.
Yeah.
He's a regular Miggs. That Curtis Lohr, he's a regular Miggs with his practical jokes. Located 120 feet underwater, the life-size replica comes complete with the infamous hockey mask and frightening machete. The haunting sight harkens back to the ending of Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, when Tommy Jarvis attempts to kill off Jason by chaining him to the bottom of Crystal Lake. There are some underwater videos of it on YouTube, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, it looks great.
Yeah, you saw it?
Yeah,
on
I saw it, yeah.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I really think this is a really cool thing.
Yeah.
So check it out on YouTube. You're not going to be able to go there unless you're in Minnesota or you have a decent travel budget for this one segment of horror news.
But now I have a reason to go to Minnesota.
You can visit the same sanitarium where Miggs was, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Wasn't it in Minnesota?
I think it was, yeah.
No, it was at Quantico. Or he was close to there. She drove there.
Right.
She drove from Quantico,
but, like,
the FBI Academy.
All those places are kind of close together compared to living in California where we have to drive 3 hours to get anywhere.
I guess that's very true, yeah. You can go up and down the state for more hours than it takes to get to halfway through the country.
Yeah, I drove from Massachusetts to New York to Rhode Island over a period of a day and a half. And that's like stopping and checking shit out.
I recently looked at the U.S. map, which I haven't done, actually looked at a map that showed the states and everything like that. When I was doing the Strokes doc on our Patreon, you know how I put those little graphics with the city names and stuff like that?
Yeah.
So I had to go to the maps and everything to get them, when I was inserting them in the documentary, which if you're a patron of, I believe it's $5 or more level a month, you can watch the Strokes doc, number 1, The Selfie Killer. Anyways, the map, I hadn't seen one in a long time, and I realized when the places I've traveled from wrestling, I was like, wow, oh, it was all the way over there. Wait, all the way to New Jersey. That's almost all the way to the East Coast.
That is the East Coast.
It is.
Yeah.
And I thought it was like I was confused as to where I was. All these places that I go, especially when there's layover flights and stuff like that, back when I was wrestling and traveling heavily, getting all these weird layover flights and flying to different places, like connections to another show or something like that, it would be... I'd stop in a place like Washington, D.C. or Missouri or something like that, and I wouldn't really understand where I was. Mm-hmm. And I didn't even know where the plane was going, like left or right on the map, to my next destination. And I really wish I would have charted that.
It went up and it went down.
I'm here. It's magic.
So Sony has announced that a Ghostbusters live-in-concert series, complete with screenings of the 1984 film with a live orchestral accompaniment, featuring Elmer Bernstein's score and Ray Parker Jr.'s hit song Ghostbusters. Variety reports that at each presentation, Peter Bernstein, orchestrator of the original film and son of Elmer Bernstein, who wrote the score, will join the other local orchestral conductor to conduct Ghostbusters live in concert, be presented all around the globe commencing this fall. Ivan Reitman has said, "I'm thrilled to be presenting Ghostbusters with a live focus on Elmer Bernstein's brilliant score."
Elmer Bernstein is one of my favorite Chinese musicians.
Yeah. He's a great Chinaman. He's a great yeoman.
With a name like Elmer Bernstein.
Right. Ivan Reitman went on to say, "I've always felt that his remarkable music was the magical glue that held the film's unique mixture of funny, mysterious, and scary." The son of Elmer Bernstein, Peter Bernstein, says, "I'm deeply excited to be able to bring Ghostbusters live to the concert hall. Working for my father as an orchestrator all those years ago was a unique and wonderful time. To be able to bring that score back to life and conduct it is thrilling both professionally and personally. Ghostbusters Live in Concert promises to be an extraordinary film with a live orchestra experience for audience of all ages. What makes this particular production unique is that both the film's director, along with Peter Bernstein, along with the orchestrator of the film, are directly involved in creating the show, along with the wonderful team at Sony Pictures and Ghost Corps. We're all very excited to bring Ghostbusters live to international theaters." That last quote was from Robert Thompson, who is the theatrical manager.
Wow.
So Ghostbusters
is it like a musical or is it just a play?
No, they're showing the movie, but with the music score knocked out, and then they're going to have an orchestra there playing the score.
Oh, wow, okay.
Like they did with Evil Dead down in L.A. when they had Joseph LaDuca come out and conduct the orchestra for that.
Yeah, that is really cool.
This is going to be, Ghostbusters is a bigger movie, so it's going to be a world tour.
And the Something Strange in the Neighborhood guy is going to be there?
That would be awesome. I mean, I doubt
if he just comes out and sings it?
Yeah. Not even a band.
No, I'll volunteer for that. I'll beatbox it.
Yeah.
Do you think if I send in that clip, he'll like my skills?
You're chewing, man. Busted makes me feel good.
All right,
so
Ghostbusters
around here, I'm going to go check that out. That would be awesome.
Yeah, that is pretty cool. For some reason, I was very confused when you were talking about it, and I thought you were talking about like a play.
Oh.
Maybe I just kind of zoned out for a second.
I kind of stumbled over my words a little bit there, too.
I might just be kind of out of it, too, as well. So, Freestyle Digital Media has announced that they have acquired Zach Bagans' Demon House, a paranormal-themed documentary that will follow the Ghost Adventures host as he and his crew purchase a supposedly haunted house in Indiana, only to be overwhelmed by a demon possession case some have called the next Amityville.
I want to punch Zach Bagans in his face. I hate that motherfucker.
Have you seen the trailer?
No.
Okay, he says, "I destroyed the house because I do not want anyone to ever live there again. I saw too many things, and there was something inside the house that affected everyone. The police, clergy, children, my production crew, everyone. I'm delighted that Freestyle will now be making Demon House available to North American viewers soon."
He's such a fucking phony. He's like the fucking Ed and Lorraine Warren of the modern era. Like, all rolled into one. This motherfucker, I talked to some people who did some production work on his show, and they fucking stage everything. And this self-righteous fucking prick, like, if you watch his show, everything always goes back to, like, fucking, oh, it's Satanists. And when he first started Ghost Adventures, he was just, like, this dude who went and hunted ghosts, and then he slowly became a psychic, and now he's, like, on a holy war to fight demons.
Yeah, like the guy in Frailty.
His name is Douchebaggins to me. That's
Douchebaggins.
Yeah, I do not like that guy. I would you know how you want that
sounds like a fucking Hobbit.
It does.
Douchebaggins.
Douchebaggins. You know how you want to have that fucking death match with Uwe Boll? I want to fucking shoot fight Zach Baggins.
Wow.
Yeah.
Strong words. I didn't even know who the fuck this guy was. So he wrote and produced and directed it. And it features him, Father Michael Maginot, Dr. Barry Taff, Captain Charles Austin. It was produced by Joseph Taglieri and Mike Dorsey, and co-produced by Jay Wasley.
Okay.
I have no idea who.
I don't know who any of those people are. They're probably all made up by Zach Baggins.
I'm just reading the press release to you.
Yeah.
Demon House will be released in North American theaters as well as VOD platforms on March 16th. And prior to talking to you about this, I had no idea who this guy was or anything, and I watched the trailer and it kind of looked good.
Well, the production value on Ghost Adventures is good. And
if you watch it like you're watching like The Last Exorcism or something and don't think that it's supposed to be real, then would it be enjoyable?
Yes, it would. But he tries to present everything as real, and that does damage to the credibility of
okay,
actual
but
paranormal
I mean,
investigation.
honestly, in the 80s, let's use a metaphor here. Professional wrestling. We used to do its best business when everyone thought it was real.
Right.
And even though it was staged, they tried to make it was real so they could get the money, just like a magician. So this guy is like a magician.
But professional wrestling is not related to people who are actually trying to conduct science to find real answers and things. There are people who are...
It is if you have a scientist or doctor gimmick.
We'll have to talk to Max Ammo about that one.
Then it is.
Yeah, then it is.
So how can you like one and not justify the other, sir?
I'm a hypocrite.
You are a hypocrite, and you're going to go and watch Ghost Adventures. We're going to binge watch it together. I'll never watch it.
Yeah, I will admit when
it's
on TV, I do watch it, but for me, it's like a fucking train wreck. Like I'm watching it and just shaking my head the whole time. Yeah, and it delegitimizes the same. It's the same reason I hate Ed and Lorraine Warren. It delegitimizes people who are actually trying to do shit with that.
Yeah, that's true, but that's the same thing you could say with amateur wrestlers getting mad at professional wrestling.
Like yarders. Yeah, I look at Zach Baggins as the yard tard of.
Okay,
fucking,
you sold me now.
Yeah.
I 180.
Yeah,
I was calling you a hypocrite, but now I can relate.
Yeah.
Okay, he's the yard tard of ghost hunting.
Yeah, straight up. Sony Pictures has officially dated their long-delay reboot of The Crow for October 11th, 2019. Production is beginning this year with the Hallows' Corin Hardy set to direct after completing his work on Atomic Monster and New Line Cinema's Conjuring spin-off The Nun. So this is the guy that directed The Hallow, which I reviewed very well. And, if he's directing The Nun, then someone actually trusts him to handle a big-budget movie.
Yeah, I'm actually going to see The Nun. I mean, I liked The Nun part of that movie.
Yeah.
There was some good stuff in that movie.
Yeah.
My daughter always wants to watch that. Annabelle, the youngest.
Because it's her name.
No, that wasn't Annabelle. It was Conjuring...
Oh, I thought you meant Annabelle wants to watch Annabelle.
No, Conjuring 17 or something. No, she doesn't like Annabelle because she feels that people would make fun of her because she's Annabelle.
Oh, okay.
And she's not a demon doll.
Right.
She's a princess.
Right.
But anyways, she always wants to watch that part. I remember watching it. She came in after school one day, back when she was in kindergarten, and she would get off school earlier than the other kids. She came in after school, and I was watching it. Mm-hmm. And it was that part where the nun comes out of the painting and all that stuff.
Right.
Pretty intense for a kid.
Yeah.
Jump scare wise. And she was terrified of it.
Well,
and then she ended up like leaving, and she was terrified. But she always asked me to watch it, and now she's been totally getting into horror.
Huh? That's good. That's all it takes is that one little thing to hook you.
Well, she watched some other stuff with me. Like I used to watch. I was actually talking with a listener on the Facebook group about the family-friendly horror movies. We're going to do that.
Jumped in on some of that too,
and which I'm going to pull up and acknowledge that listener's name right now. But the family-friendly horror movies, I would watch like edited down versions, like for like TV, TNT or something like that, of movies with my kids, and it would kind of give them whet their appetite towards horror, but not show them any titties or anything.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and the Conjuring movies. I mean, the ones that feature Ed and Lorraine Warren would be much better if they didn't feature those two characters being fucking shitheads. But apparently they're expanding this thing into this Conjuring universe where they're going to give the Crooked Man his own movie, the Nun her own movie. They're going to continue with the Annabelle movies. And so hopefully with those movies they're going to be moving away from Ed and Lorraine Warren, because the last Annabelle movie didn't have those characters in it at all, and it was the best in the series. But anyway, Corin Hardy, we sort of sidetracked on this. When he finishes The Nun, he's going to go on to direct The Crow. Jason Momoa is locked down, and James O'Barr, who created the comic book, is directly involved. They're going to call the film The Crow Reborn, and they describe it as a more faithful adaptation of the original graphic novel.
That's pretty awesome. I'll check it out. Corey Van Dusen was the name of the listener who was asking about the family-friendly horror movies for their kids, so that's why I went off on that tangent. So, if you're listening, hi, Corey Van Dusen.
Sup?
Sup?
I hope when you said, when you said that to him, he responds to the recording with, "What up, Strokes?"
That's what I would appreciate.
Yeah.
I don't understand. I bet a bunch of people don't understand why it's called Strokes Doc.
Right.
Or like what the fuck What Up Strokes is and stuff.
Yeah.
You got to search it out. Sexual Stroganoff. I am the sexual Stroganoff.
People
and I don't need to tell you. You should already know. If not, listen to the episode called Sexual Stroganoff.
And if you don't know, you better call somebody.
You got to call somebody who knows and ask them. Okay, so coming this month from Creepsville 666, which makes some fine products. My wife has a very nice dress of like a skeleton.
Oh yeah, I've seen that dress.
Yeah, and it's pretty sweet, you know?
Yeah, she wears it with the blue wig.
Yeah, well, she did, that one time when we did the show. But yeah, she wears it when we go to like concerts and shit. But it's a pretty cool company. They make like clothes and stuff like that, mainly for girls that are like goth or something, like, you know, that kind of stuff, punk kind of goth. But they are making a mouse pad in conjunction with one Elvira.
I see where this is going.
And they are making a mouse pad complete with silicone titty wrist resting spot. So the top of the mouse pad is her face and chest. And the bottom, you know how some mouse pads bump up on the bottom?
Yeah.
Those kind of, they used to be real popular?
Yeah.
Well, it's 2 bumps. And your wrist goes in the middle of them and rests ever so gently right here in this silicone love of Elvira's cleavage.
That's the best place to rest your wrists.
Yes, and I could get it as a mouse pad.
Right.
AKA a fleshlight. I'm just saying, when she licenses sex dolls, it's going to be much more expensive. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's going to be a prime.
It can't be more than like $20, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for a few uses.
Yeah, for sure.
And I'll still record the show and use it as a mouse pad too. No one will even know. I'll just clean it off.
Get a clear plastic cover for it. So I've got some real world horror news for us. A Taiwan man had a 7-inch plastic sex toy removed from his penis after the instrument got stuck in his bladder.
Wow. More sex toy news.
Yeah. The Mirror.uk reports, the unnamed patient, reportedly in his 30s, refused to see a doctor for more than 2 days after getting the toy lodged while engaging in urethral play. Doctors discovered a 7-inch plastic sex toy stuck in the bladder of a man who came to the hospital when he started peeing blood. The unnamed patient refused to see a doctor because he was embarrassed. He finally did visit the doctor. He told them he'd been engaging in urethral play. Head of urology at the hospital in Taiwan, whose name is Jian Bang Bing.
I feel bad for laughing.
Yeah.
Dr. Bing, very revered in his field.
Dr. Bang Bing.
Dr. Bang Bing.
That's a racist joke waiting to happen.
That's the sound DDP makes when he throws up the diamond cutter sound.
He said
Bang! Bing!
He said that the plastic rod measured 7.87 inches long and 0.39 inches wide. Yeah, I got a picture of it right here. It looks like anal beads, but smaller. The guy inserted it into his penis.
It looks like if any of you listeners that have children, it looks like the bottle cleaner brush, but without the bristles.
It does. Yeah. And so he inserted it all the way into his dick. It got stuck in his bladder, and he left it there because he was embarrassed. And then he started pissing blood. Guys,
if you can commit to fucking sticking that thing all the way down in your dick, you better wear that with pride.
Yeah. And if that happens, don't have pride, or don't have shame about it. Go to the doctor. Don't wait till you're pissing blood to go to the doctor.
Yeah, at least it went down 7 3/4 inches.
Yeah, exactly. Especially on a guy from Taiwan.
Taiwanese urethra beads. That's our rating system.
All right.
Taiwanese urethra beads. Speaking of rating system, we're going to use it when we get back to the nitty-gritty. The good movie and the bad movie of the week. And we will do that right before we get to the top 5 horror movie giants after this. Already up this month on our Patreon, we have Creepypastas.
Hey, it's a creepypasta. That's a spicy horror meatball.
My Story Judgment, Delivery by Dom, and my old story, Hunting Season.
We have Post Mortem Off Topic. Off Topic! Featuring stories about G.G. Allen, the Illuminati, and Count Cagliostro.
As well as the Best of JD Horror Deathmatch DVD video download.
There will be more.
Music from Mechanical Ghost, Grave Command, Public Defecation, Weapon A, and Old Scratch and the Necrophonic Orchestra.
And my new documentary series, Strogs Docs. Strogs Docs. Episode 1, The Selfie Killer.
And coming soon, a new creepypasta written by me called It Came From Fox News, more off topics, and Strogs Docs 2.
Strogs Docs 2, and I got a good one coming up.
What up, Strogs?
That's on patreon.com/postmortemshow.
It's time for the good movie. And the bad movie.
Okay, we're back with the good movie and the bad movie.
I'll fire this one off first. My bad movie is a 2017 supernatural horror directed by Patricio Vallardes, streaming now on Netflix. It's called Night World.
The Robert Englund one?
Yeah.
It sucked, huh?
Yeah.
It looks bad.
It's bad.
That's why I haven't watched it yet, because I couldn't bring myself to do it.
Yeah.
And when you hear my bad movie, what I watched, which is not that bad, mind you, you're going to be like, wow, you watched that over Night World?
This movie made my good movie because my good movie wasn't great.
Okay.
So a former LAPD officer, Brett Anderson, takes a job as a head of security in an old apartment building in Bulgaria's capital, Sofia. He soon begins to experience a series of bizarre and terrifying events. Once he begins to delve deeper into the building's sinister history and investigate its shadowy owners and past employees, Brett soon uncovers a malevolent force nestled deep in the bowels of the building that will do anything to be set free into our world. So there were a few positive things about this movie that I'll give it. The cinematography was good. They didn't resort to cheap CG for anything, and instead they showed less of the weird stuff and let your imagination fill in the blanks. But that's about as much as good as I can say about it. Even Robert Englund couldn't save the mess that this movie became.
Is he in it only a little bit?
No, he's in it for probably about half the movie.
Okay.
He plays a significant character, but
it just made me think that based on the poster that he was going to be in it for like a scene.
Right.
You know?
Yeah. No, he was actually... I'll give it that, too. He was in it for a good portion of the movie. So this movie was basically an amalgam of other better movies. Poltergeist, Silent Hill, Ghostbusters, Dark Water, Twin Peaks. And while it started out kind of strong, the derivative weakness of the premise became more obvious as the film went on. Also, while all of the actors were adequate, the dialogue felt stunted and forced, like it was written by someone who doesn't speak English well enough to write it conversationally. It does that thing where characters constantly say other characters' names in dialogue, where it's like, hey, JD, how are you doing today? And you'd be like, I'm fine, Dom. I'm like, that's great, JD. And you'd be like, how are you doing today, Dom? And I'd be like, I'm doing okay, JD.
That sounds like Pee Wee Herman. It does. That, like, what you're describing is Pee Wee Herman.
Yeah, where you say everyone's name in a sentence. And that's like a mark of a poorly written bad movie for me, is when they do that, especially...
Don't you ever call Pee Wee Herman poorly written.
Pee Wee Herman's the exception. But it's especially when they only say, like, the characters' last names. This movie didn't go that far, but, you know, that it was just... Everything felt off the way people said things. Like, they'd have a conversation, and then, like, the character would be like, oh, that's nice. I'm going to go to the restaurant and grab a bite to eat. Like, instead of ending the scene at the logical point, they added that in there just to be like, hey, we're people. You know,
I got to go. I have to have an excuse to leave the scene.
Yeah, exactly. Or, like, another, like, sign of poor writing is and fucking Sons of Anarchy suffered from this. Every time they wanted to end a scene and didn't know how to end it, someone's cell phone rang.
And they just leave the room?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just end the fucking scene.
I
That's
like
what
Sons of
editing is for.
Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy was a great show, but there were some flaws, and that was one of the big flaws.
Yeah. As it dragged on, it got to be progressively more like, these guys should be busted.
Yeah, or dead.
There's no way. Yeah. But it was good.
Yeah. So, the stunted nature of the dialogue made people who were proven to be good actors, Robert Englund and Jason London, come off as bad actors, which is a bit of a trick. And I think Robert Englund probably hit a point in this movie where he just stopped giving a fuck and was like, I'm just doing this for the money, guys.
Yeah. That sucks.
Yeah, this movie was a case of bad scripting ruining something that was made by a technically competent director with good actors. So while I'll still watch other movies that Patricio Vallartas directs, I hope he works with other writers in the future. This would have been better maybe if it was written in whatever native language the writers or directors spoke. The director's Chilean, so I would guess Spanish. But even the linguistic issues wouldn't fix the fact that it was just derivative as fuck. Everything that happened, I'm like, I saw that in this movie. Oh, I saw that in this movie. It's just one of the... And it wasn't even...
not its own thing.
It wasn't even a tribute, Like, House of a Thousand Corpses has shit from other movies, but it's an obvious genre tribute to them.
Yeah.
Where this was, like, trying to present itself as something new, and it made it feel really amateurish. So, I'm gonna give this 4.5 out of 10. What is it? Taiwanese urethra toys?
No, Taiwanese urethra, something beaded.
Taiwanese urethra beads.
Taiwanese urethra beads?
Sounds like a line in a Tom Waits song.
It was...
In the time of Taiwanese urethra beads.
Alright, we'll just go with that. That's fine. Taiwanese urethra beads. So My Bad Movie stars a 90s pop sensation, Mandy Moore.
Remember Mandy saw
Moore?
It. Yeah.
2017, written and directed by Johannes Roberts, starring Mandy Moore and Claire Holt. 47 Meters Down.
Yeah, I saw that movie that it was out, and I have not seen it.
Yes, and I avoided it. Much like The Shallows, which also... The Shallows, not a good movie, but worth a watch.
Right.
Not that bad. Definitely not the shittiest thing you can find on Netflix.
Yeah.
But...
It's not the Ouija Experiment.
Yeah. 47 Meters Down, I really fucking avoided this movie. But I put it on when I was going to bed, and stayed up and watched the whole thing.
Nice.
So, originally planning to spend a carefree and restful vacation in thrilling Mexico with her boyfriend, instead, Lisa invites her adventurous younger sister Kate for the time of their lives. Soon, the two sisters will meet a couple of friendly locals who, in the spur of the moment, will convince the girls to join them on a shark diving excursion where they can get a close-up look of a magnificent 25-foot great white sharks in the safety of an enclosed cage. Hesitantly, cautious Lisa will agree. However, things will take a turn from the worst when, after a while, a mechanical failure will plummet the cage 47 meters down to the ocean seabed in shark-infested waters. Now the only place safe is inside the confined space of the rickety cage. Nevertheless, for how long?
I presume they have scuba tanks on.
Yes, they do.
It'd be a real short movie if they didn't.
But this movie is actually kind of smart, and I'll get to the why.
Okay.
So, you know what you're getting with the shark movie. It's limited storytelling with the two girls 47 meters under the water in a shark cage, starring a former Teen Pop MTV TRL Live girl turned actress, and this movie is also PG-13.
It's a lot going against it.
There's a lot going against it. I never wanted to watch it, but it was on Netflix, like I said. I was going to sleep, so I just threw it on, not even intending to review it, because I don't ever put a movie on when I'm just going to fall asleep or something that I'm going to review.
Right.
And when I do that and make that mistake, I never get to go to bed and have to watch it.
Right.
It's good. I have to watch it in one sitting and take notes and yeah. So I was like, fuck, So when I watched it, I was actually pleasantly surprised. It's super tense at moments. Maybe because I've seen a shark in the water. Mm-hmm. Actually, I was surfing on the waves. I was like, what up, brah? Yeah.
And the shark was like, what up, Strokes?
The shark's like, what up, Strokes?
I don't blink!
No, seriously, I have seen a shark in the water close enough to me where I could have died, but I was also kind of close to shallow to where I could go. I went really fast away. But at Alhama Beach.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
They get sharks out there.
Yeah, they get sharks out there, too, and gaviota and stuff. I grew up on the sands, bro.
Shooting the curl.
Like my shades. So, and I love aquatic and space horror. We've talked about this before, that it's the scariest thing because it's the unknown.
Yeah.
When you're in a place you can't survive, like, by just breathing.
Yeah.
Like space or underneath the water.
Yeah.
You have something else working against you besides the monster or the killer or whatever
You can't just run away. You
can't just run away.
You can leave Crystal Lake.
Yeah.
You can't leave under the water.
Yeah, or leave from a space station or something.
Right.
Like, that's why Alien it works so good for me.
Yeah.
You know? But watching it alone and the lights off, paying attention to it the whole way through. So it was well acted and had some good gore, although not much of it. Main thing I liked was the ocean is as much of an enemy as the shark. Between their low supply of oxygen and the threat of getting the bends if they try to ascend too fast, they reference that a lot in this movie. And they also talk about getting a nitrogen bubble in their brain and dying through the bends from ascending too fast in stages.
It's a reality of it.
They've also been down too long and have to switch tanks to where they start to be nitrogen poisoned.
Yeah.
Because you can't be operating on those tanks forever. You can't just live like that. You have to come back up, right?
Right.
So they start to hallucinate and get disoriented and stuff. And there's scenes where stuff happens in the movie and then it kind of like resets almost like Groundhog Day. And it's like hallucinations and stuff from like the nitrogen poisoning.
That's cool.
Which is a super smart way to do an undersea shark attack movie.
Yeah.
Instead of just the shark, there is like questionable reality.
Yeah.
It's almost a questionable narrator. Like when you kind of stay with the girls the whole time, and they're almost questionable narrators. Like, what they're seeing real? What's going on here?
Yeah.
So
They're working against the shark, the ocean, and their own brains.
yeah. So it's got a lot going. So it's not going to change the world, but if you're bored and need to turn off your brain, it's a decent one-time view. More interesting might be the just announced 48 meters down, which I heard about the next day after I watched this movie. So the director said after sharks terrorize Mandy Moore and Claire Holt in a cage, 48 meters down will be about a cave diving disaster. Director Johannes Roberts described it as an underwater version of The Descent, to where they're scuba diving in a cave network. So, in addition to being like in the ocean, there's threat of collapse. It's tiny little sections to where if there's a shark or something, think about that.
To be trapped in there with it.
Yeah, so I really, really like that. And it's under Brazil, in underwater caves underneath the city.
So how did they pull off the shark in this movie?
It's got some CG. I think there might be some practical, but it's mainly CG. But they're really smart about it because the way the lighting is almost like you're underwater too at points. Like you can see the light, almost like the Abyss, where there's lights in the people's mask. So the light source that you're seeing is the light of the mask of the person who you're kind of trapped there with.
Okay. So they never like show the whole thing.
They do show it, like, but it's mainly like brushing by. It's fast action when they show it.
Okay.
It's never like there's the shark just sitting right there out of the cage, just looking at you.
Like Deep Blue Sea.
Yeah, no, it's not like that. Yeah, so claustrophobia and being in a place not suitable for human life always works for me if it's done right. And 47 meters down was good enough to make me want to watch the sequel, if only for the way you'd watch the sequel of a movie that was decent enough to spend an hour and 20 minutes with.
Right.
You know, I'm not a huge fan of shark movies, although I'm a fan of underwater. I really like The Abyss and movies like that. Yeah. Underwater aliens, Leviathan, and like Lovecraftian stuff like that. It doesn't always have to be a shark.
Right.
We don't have to go all real world animals. Let's get a little crazier. Yeah. Let's get like Alien, underwater.
Yeah. There's weird shit down there.
Yeah.
There's anglerfish with fuckable stomachs.
Supple, yearning stomachs. With LED lights. It's almost like those little like not the clap lights, but the little lights you push in.
Yeah.
The touch lights, that light up. You can get them from the 99-cent store now.
It's it's glowy and it's glittery and it smells fishy. It's kind of like having sex with Kesha.
Yeah. It's kind of like The Shape of Water, if you think about it. IMDb gives it a 5.7. I would give it a 6.5 Taiwanese anal beads. Or Taiwanese urethral beads, I should say.
So that's better than average still for your bad movie.
It's still better than average, yeah. And 6.5, maybe it was just my state of mind when I watched it, the fact that it kind of caught me out of nowhere and I actually liked it.
Right.
When I didn't think it would. I thought it was going to be like teenage girl horror.
Right.
You know?
Well,
PG-13,
and
Mandy Moore. You just
yeah.
got to think about those things, you know. And she actually does a pretty good job.
Nice.
I liked her better than the other sister. So
Cool. Well, you know, all the or a movie that's better than it has any right to be. That's something that gets points in and of itself. You know, when it's a pleasant surprise, it definitely makes the movie even better.
yeah, and written and directed by the same person too, kind of shows that you know there's a singular vision going on
Yeah,
here.
he
too.
gave a shit about it.
Yeah,
Cool.
and he even put at the beginning, like, even though it doesn't say on any of the ad campaign anything like that, in the opening credits it does say Johannes Roberts is 47 meters down on the very thing. Like, he was that happy
Right.
about it, you know.
But
Which I wouldn't be that happy about it. But
he didn't Nicholas Winding Refn it though
Yeah.
with his watermark.
un film de Johannes Roberts.
47 meters down.
El cine.
All right, so my good, I'll use the term somewhat loosely, movie is a 2009 supernatural horror film directed by Luis Verdejo, who wrote the Wreck series and Quarantine. Streaming now on Netflix, starring Kevin Costner and the little girl from Pan's Labyrinth, the new daughter.
Okay, yeah, I saw that was out there, and I've avoided it like the plague. I had no idea it was directed by him.
Yeah.
So
I saw that. I saw the little image for it. I was like, is that Kevin Costner? And Michelle's like, no, it's not Kevin Costner.
That's why I
So
avoided it.
I went and like scrolled through some other stuff, and she got on IMDb. She's like, no, that's Kevin Costner. I'm like, fuck it, let's see what he does. And
yeah,
I turned it on. So
I'm not a fan of Kevin Costner. You know why? Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I don't need to see that man's ass bathing in a waterfall. Like, it's just not okay to me.
it had it in Dances with Wolves too. Kevin
Dances with Wolves is good.
I liked Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves. I liked pretty much every movie I've seen him in except Waterworld.
Yeah, Waterworld is pretty ridiculous. Mr. Brooks, when he tried to do the horror movie, that was alright.
Didn't see that one.
It's not good.
I liked Field of Dreams. That was a good movie. Yeah.
I just, when I look at him, I just kind of see
His butt.
his ass glowing in the moonlight.
So, a single father moves his two children to rural South Carolina and soon finds an old Native American burial mound on his property. Strange, shadowy entities begin to haunt the family as the teenage daughter exhibits increasingly strange behavior. So this was an interesting story and a somewhat unique take on the old demonic possession trope with just a hint of H.P. Lovecraft. All of the cast played their parts well, and it was actually interesting to see Kevin Costner take a dip into the world of horror, and a little more grown-up Ivana Baquero, who's the little girl from Pan's Labyrinth. The cinematography was very good, and the director did some interesting things with light, shadow, and reflection throughout the film. Like, there's a scene where something explodes, and a little kid is holding a framed picture that he didn't want to have destroyed. And you see the explosion, instead of having a cheap explosion happen on screen, you see the explosion kind of happen in the reflection of the picture, and then like something comes out of that explosion, and it's all in the reflection of the picture frame that he's holding to his chest. Okay. So that was a pretty cool idea, and that was really the money shot of the movie. And there were some unexpected twists in the movie. It went places that I didn't see coming, and it had a very dark ending that pulled no punches. But it had some flaws. Things dragged. The movie clocked in at an hour and 48 minutes, and they could have trimmed 18 minutes off of this film to tighten it up, and it would have been much better. My big gripe, though, is the terrible CG that they used on the monsters half of the time. It was totally unnecessary since the director did a good job of conveying horror without showing the monsters most of the time, and up close, there were some good practical monster effects. But then, for some reason, he felt the need to even touch up these decent practical effects with shitty CG.
Yeah, that's not good.
There was no need to bring the monsters into the light, period, and spoil it by adding a bunch of cartoonish shit. Because the monsters, the way they looked, was not the focus of it. It was what they were trying to do. You know, it could have just been weird, shadowy, glistening things, and it would have been much better. I don't want to give away too much, because there's some... If you do go and watch it, there's some stuff that if I spoil it, it's going to, like, fuck everything up.
I'm never going to watch it.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's...
But for the listener.
Yeah, for the listener, too. On the whole, though, this was a new take on an old story that was done somewhat well in spite of the CG. Costner made for a relatable hero in this one, and I think he actually was the glue that held the story together.
Wow, and you know what's weird? Is if you thought about those two movies, that you're reviewing,
Uh-huh.
and which one would you like more?
Yeah.
you would not think the Kevin Costner daughter ghost whatever movie.
Yeah, the PG-13 Kevin Costner daughter ghost movie.
Yeah,
no, Kevin Costner. I mean, he hasn't done a lot recently. He's kind of been out of the limelight. And in this movie, he played a dad whose wife had basically abandoned him and his 2 kids for her new boyfriend. Just fucked off on him. And he was really like trying to hold the family together and was kind of like sensitive and like trying to control his anger because he didn't really want to take out his frustration with his wife on his kids. And he conveyed all of that really well. So, they definitely, if anything, they used him to the best of his ability as an actor.
Cool.
And as far as PG-13 horror goes, this is probably one of the better ones, though not fantastic. I'm going to give it 7.5 out of 10 Taiwanese urethral beads.
7.5. Wow, that's pretty strong for that movie. Like I said, I had no interest, and based on your review, 7.5, I should want to watch it. But you said yourself, it's not that great.
It was better than I expected it to be, even though it wasn't great, and that goes somewhere with it.
Yeah, definitely. All right, my good movie this week, 2017, directed by Natalie Liette, Leite.
Late?
Liite!
Liayakoka!
Starring Francesca Eastwood and Clifton Collins Jr. It's called MFA. Have you heard of this?
I have not.
Okay, so timid and withdrawn Noelle, a California fine arts graduate student, is an outcast, having trouble to socially fit in and to impress her fellow painters with her work. Under those circumstances, the thrilled Noelle will accept an invitation to a party by a handsome classmate she has a crush on, only to be lured into his room and viciously assaulted. After she leaves the house, a different woman, Noelle will accidentally kill her rapist on the following night, and much to her surprise, an unexpected surge of inspiration will gradually fuel both her stagnant artistic expression and her thirst for revenge on those who've destroyed the lives of innocent women. Now Noelle is a pitiless vigilante who uses her newly found sex appeal to serve her cause. Who says seduction is a dying art?
So she got raped and then becomes...
She got raped and killed the guy.
Uh-huh.
And then goes and tries to kill all the rapists.
Gotcha. Okay, so it's like a rape revenge.
Yeah, it's almost like I Spit on Your Grave kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also her artistic skills improve. And what's really smart about this movie, not only does her art, like her paintings and stuff, improve and get better and better while she's like
killing people,
escalating like this thing, but she gets hotter and hotter and sexier. Like when you first see her in the movie, she's kind of frumpy, you know what I mean? Like, but by the end, it's like there's kind of something about her that's hot. You know what I mean?
So it's like those movies from the '90s where there was like the
ponytail and the glasses.
Yeah, but then they take off the ponytail and the glasses, and they're suddenly like Alicia Silverstone. But just with rape.
A lot more rape going on. Noelle goes to a party with a guy from her art class and gets her to his room and rapes her in a pretty intense scene with a close-up of her face and this droning score, and it's a long shot of even the panties getting ripped off and all this stuff and her getting bent over, and it's just this one long shot of like, you can see not everything, but like you can see her face, but you can also see like that she has no panties on and she's bent over and all this stuff like that, and she's kind of crying, and this boom, this droning score is happening. Okay. And it's a long scene. And now instantly, when I saw that scene, I was in.
Okay.
You know, I'm not saying like, oh yeah, rape.
Right.
I'm into the movie, but it's just like the way it was done, I was like, okay, this movie, there's some fucking skill behind this. This is not just your standard rape, revenge, exploitation 80s movie where there's no acting skill, no direction skill. It's just, let's show this, let's show that, let's show this. It's not like that at all, so. After it's over, she goes back out and walks into the pool, which is a little cliche, but she walks through the whole party and no one says anything to her. Her hair's kind of ruffled up, and she's kind of walking through, like, not stumbling, but walking through, like, silent, like, catatonic, you know? And then she just goes outside and walks off the edge right into the pool and just kind of shows her, like, sprawled out in the pool underneath the water and stuff after that, like, cleansing herself, basically. Right. It's a little ham-handed and cliche for my taste, but... Next day, she tells her roommate, who convinces her not to tell anyone about the rape, which is really fucking stupid. Yeah. But the roommate did that herself, you know, so that's kind of where it goes to kind of get that implied, like, they're not going to do anything if you tell them, so just don't tell them, you know, it's going to ruin your life either way, whether they get in trouble or not. It's still going to ruin your life, you know. She goes to tell the school anyway, and they don't really give a fuck. She leaves and gets a text from the rapist asking if she wants to come over. So she comes over and asks him to say sorry, but he denies the rape, says that she enjoyed it, and says that they just had sex. He tells her to leave and storms up the stairs, and she follows. And after a little struggle, he falls over the banister and dies in a really set up way. Like, there's things about this movie I don't like and things I like about it. That the banister falling over backwards and you're dead and a trickle of blood out of it. It's just so... Something about it is really cliche in times, you know?
Right.
But the way it's done, like the cinematography is excellent, the writing is excellent, like the dialogue is excellent. There's just a little bit of too much of the cliche.
The tropes, yeah.
Yeah, a little bit too much tropey, so... She then becomes obsessed with rape revenge and sets out for vengeance. Her own rapist may be dead, but there's plenty more for her to exterminate. Character actor, legend, Clifton Gonzalez Jr., formerly Clifton Gonzalez. Mm-hmm. Have you seen that guy?
What
Have you seen 187 with Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah.
He's the Mexican gangster guy.
Okay, yeah.
He's in that.
He always plays Cholos, yeah?
He plays Cholos, but he's a fucking chameleon, man. He is Tack in the Stone Age. Oh, come on, man.
Okay, yeah.
He's Tack. Like, he's played a bunch of shit. He's been the Tack in the Stone Age. He's been a cop in this. He's not any kind of like Cholo or anything like that. But I really like that guy. He's really good. So he's one of the detectives on the case, trying to find out why these douchebags are dying all over campus. Francesca Eastwood gives a great performance as Noelle, along with a lot of nudity. Showing off the goods, Clint Eastwood's daughter.
That is Clint Eastwood's daughter,
yeah. Even with her spread out Dagon-style fish eyes, there's something really sexy about her. She's got the Dagon of fish eyes going to where, you know, the end of her eye is almost touching your ear.
Right.
You know?
She has good peripheral vision.
She's like the girl in VHS.
Right.
And what was the other movie, Siren?
Yeah.
What was it called, Siren?
Yeah.
Something like that?
I like you.
Yeah, I like you. Yeah. She got those kind of eyes going on, but gets progressively hotter. She's just got some kind of like magnetism about her.
Huh.
But it's portrayed that way. That's what they want. There's definitely... The way the movie makes you feel is intentional, except for maybe the tropes. So, dialogue is very well written. I really like the score, especially that droning and that long shot. If you're a fan of revenge movies, check it out. It deserves a lot more buzz than I think it got, especially since this came out in 2017 and I heard nothing about it.
What does MFA stand for?
MFA, I had no idea what it stand for till the end, but it's Master of Fine Arts. Because that's the program she's on at school.
Yeah.
So it's just called MFA, which just has nothing to do with other than that's what she takes at school.
Right.
But this movie is heavily art-based. Shows a lot of her painting and stuff like that. It's almost like The Devil's Candy.
Right.
How there's an art element to it, you know? And it kind of did sort of peter out towards the end, but it was a fun little movie. Worth watching, definitely.
Is it on Netflix?
It's not on Netflix, but IMDb gives it a 5.6. I would give it 7.4.
Nice.
So, 0.1 better than your movie that you didn't really like.
Yeah.
But 7.4, Taiwanese urethral beads.
Cool. I'll check it out.
Urethra beads? Urethral beads.
Urethral beads? I don't know.
Urethral beads.
Urethral beads. Urethra Franklin.
Urethra Franklin. What's the song? Come on, give me that Urethra Franklin song. Respect! Just a little bit! You need a little respect to my fucking urethra. Respect my urethra. Alright, we will be back with the top 5 horror movie giants after this.
And we're back!
With the top 5 giants in horror movies.
Not horror giants like Legends, but actual physical big motherfuckers.
Physically large creatures or human beings. So, why don't you start us off this week?
My number 5 is the alcohol-allergic tentacle monsters from the movie Grabbers.
Hell yeah, Grabbers is so underrated.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about that.
Irish village.
They're not that giant. Some of them are, though.
Yeah, they're big enough to grab people and yank them out of buildings. Yeah, but they're allergic to alcohol, so everyone has to get drunk so they get left alone.
Yeah, if you're drunk, they won't attack you. If you're not drunk, you'll die.
Yeah, the one cop that's trying to, like, control everything is a recovering alcoholic, so everyone's getting drunk around him. It's just a fucking smart movie.
Yeah, it's really good. It really surprised me.
Yeah.
So I kind of avoided it for a while, but I was really glad when I saw it. My number 5 comes all the way from Korea. The Host. Have you seen The Host?
It's a great movie.
I love that
It's on my honorable mentions.
And it's questionable CG at times, but it's really well done.
Yeah.
And the movie's really good.
Yeah.
The plot's good. It's kind of like a political message about pollution.
Yeah.
But yeah, really good movie. The Host. Now on Netflix. Been on Netflix for years.
Yeah.
One of those movies that's been on Netflix since Netflix was alive, basically.
Yeah, for sure.
Since streaming was around.
Yeah,
so.
I think it was probably the first horror movie they had.
So check it out, yeah. Watch the subtitle version, not the dub.
Yeah, the dub's terrible.
Yeah.
My number 4 is another movie that was better than it had any right to be, especially because this giant is CG, but The Troll and Troll Hunter.
On my honorable mentions, really good. One of the
Super
first things that
underrated
came
movies,
to mind.
Yeah.
Know? And I like the multi-head troll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called Troll Hunter. Like, that's a knock on it, like, just to begin with, you know?
Yeah.
But they fucking pulled it off, you know? It's
really good.
Fun, smart movie.
Did you see the remake, or has it not been made yet?
I
heard
haven't
there's
seen
going to
it
be an
yet.
American remake, which I don't
It doesn't, because that Trolls are part of, like, it's like a Finnish movie or something
Yeah,
like
so
that.
it's not going to
Trolls
translate.
are part of their culture, you know?
Yeah, it's not going to translate well. So.
I hope that in the American version, it's the Norfin trolls with the big hair and like no clothes
And the
butts.
bejeweled belly button.
bejeweled belly. Yeah, but they shoot lasers out of the bejeweled belly.
You know what's really, really fucking weird is that in our era of growing up, you know, all the girls that played with those little trolls when they were little pierced their belly buttons when they were in middle school.
Yeah,
That's very strange.
Not sure
You
why
think
they-
about it.
why
The
they
belly
don't walk
button
around-
piercing is not as
Yeah.
common as it was back like when we were like in late middle school, high school.
Yeah, why couldn't they have walked around naked with their hair spiked up too?
You're wanting middle school girls to walk around naked with their hair.
Well, when I was in middle school.
What's wrong with you, Dom? I was having dreams, Dom, of Pamela Anderson blowing me on a boat.
Yeah.
And you were thinking about other little middle school kids.
There wasn't even an internet when
with
I was
their
in
peters
middle
out.
school for me to watch Pamela Anderson blow someone on a boat.
Oh yeah, that was my middle school. That's about the time I was in middle school.
Yeah, there was no. I'm old. There was no internet then.
You
We had to fucking bang.
You probably look at those little fucking trolls too.
Yeah, we had to bang two rocks together and jerk off to Norfin trolls in my day, and we liked it.
Old ass dumb. And that's why your beard looks like their hair but inverted.
Yeah, exactly. You turn me upside down and put an ass on the back of my head, I look like a Norfin troll.
My number 4 are the Lovecraftian giant creatures at the end of the mist.
Yeah, those are
Those giant shambling beasts.
awesome. Yeah,
Almost, I would have put the thing in Stranger Things second season on the list, but
it's basically a ripoff of those.
yeah, it pretty much is.
Yeah.
So. And Stranger Things season 2 not as good as number 1 for my money.
No, overproduced, too much, too fast.
But yeah, giant creatures at the end of the mist. I love the mist, and I love the ending.
Yeah, fucked up. And those giant creatures at the end of the mist were CG, but they were really well done because they just showed bits and pieces of them.
Yeah.
So it kind of left you guessing.
Yeah, and then Stephen King liked the ending the director came up with more than his own ending.
Yeah.
So, pretty good.
That's big props.
Yeah.
So, my number 3 is something that would probably be my number 1, but my number 2 and my number 1 are just so much better quality than this. But
Okay.
it's such a classic, the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man from Ghostbusters.
Yeah, it's on my honorable mentions.
It's a total parody of the whole kaiju thing. But yeah, you know, for the time, it was a great special effect, and it was super iconic. You know, everyone remembers the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man.
Well, you know, when they made the remake with the girls, I tried to audition, and I said, you know what, CGI ruins this shit.
Yeah.
You don't need that. Just let me go off there. I'll take off all my clothes.
Wear a
and I'll
sailor
put on
hat.
a little sailor hat, and I'll be the Stay Puft Stroganoff Man. And they were not appreciative.
Fuckers.
Leslie Jones punched me in the face. All right, my number 3. I've talked about this movie too much in recent episodes since it basically is on the fringes of horror. But for my money, out of all my lists, the scariest giant of my list, terrified me as a kid, is the devil in Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey.
Yeah.
The giant devil with all the rocks on the chains.
How's it going, Beelzebub?
Fucking It's very terrifying.
Yeah.
And
Great.
You could question me whether it's a horror movie or not, but Bill and Ted's Bogus Journey is a horror movie.
It is.
It's a horror comedy.
Absolutely. And that Devil's a great example of how awesome a miniature can be.
Yeah. Yeah. Using miniatures, and there was a little bit of like computer, like the chains and stuff, and the floating pads and stuff. And it's weird. It holds up more than a lot of the shit we see now.
Yeah.
In a movie that was in the early 90s.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
You know, I think they did a good job with it too, because it was kind of chaotic. Like, you had to look at it for a second to figure out what it was.
Yeah.
And that's a sign of a good monster.
And the best depiction of hell for my money.
Yeah, for sure. My number 2 are the Titans in the movie Attack on Titan.
I haven't seen that. Is it good?
It's fucking great.
Oh, you talked about it. It's the one where they're all bloody and stuff?
Yeah.
I was thinking Attack on the Block. Have you heard of that?
Yeah, Attack the Block's a great movie too.
It is good?
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about, the aliens.
So is Attack the Gas Station. It's a Korean movie.
I never heard of that.
It's like a Korean horror action comedy. It's funny. But yeah, the Titans, I don't know how much of them are CG and how much of them are costume. Like, that's how good.
And it's not Titan AE.
No, fuck Titan AE. Attack on Titan, the anime is actually even good, but the Titans are these creatures that they were humans at one point, and they had a genetic anomaly, and it made them like grow to massive proportions, and they're like the size of buildings now. But the way that they, like, in the anime, they just kind of make them look fucked up. For the movie, they went into like medical journals and got what people with genetic disorders look like, and made the Titans.
Are they all
look
different
like
types of fucked up?
Yeah, like
that's awesome.
One of them has no skin. One of them's mouth is too wide. You know, all this weird shit, and there's so much gore in it because they fuck up.
I gotta check that out.
Yeah, it's a 2-part movie, and it's worth watching.
I like that each one of them is different, like 13 Ghosts kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and it, like I said, I can't tell what's CG and what's costume, and that's a mark of some really good special effects.
That is good special effects, yeah. Especially when you're talking about giants and stuff, you know?
Yeah.
Because you can't really do that with practical effects. I mean, not cost-effective wise.
Yeah, unless you want to build like a shitty miniature city like they did for like the Attack of the 50-Foot Woman or whatever.
Yeah. My number 2 should have probably been my number 0, but the only reason that it wasn't my number 0 and I slipped it to my number 2 is because technically he's not really a giant, but the way this movie was filmed, the tall man in Phantasm.
Yeah.
6'4" in real life, Angus Scrimm.
They made him look like he was 8 feet tall.
They make him look like he's 8 feet tall. He's the precursor to the Slender Man.
Yeah, for sure.
So, yeah, I love Phantasm, and R.I.P. Angus Scrimm does such a good job. So menacing when he's lumbering, and his physical acting puts over the fact that he's so giant. Yeah. In addition to, 6'4", I mean, it's not like he's short or anything.
Right.
But the way it's filmed, it makes you think that he's...
Yeah, he moves like someone.
There's a reason he's called the tall man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Boy! Boy. All right, my number 1 is the Queen Alien in Aliens.
Yeah, on my honorable mention, that's a good one.
Such a fucking scary special effect. If I saw something like that in real life, I would just shit myself and die.
Yeah.
It's so well done. No CG. It's all puppetry. And apparently the thing was a bitch to move around, and kept breaking on the set, and they'd have to fix it. And it was the same thing with Jaws, but for what it's worth, they made a legendary monster.
Yeah, it worked. Definitely worked. Practical effects. Those effects back then, and the original Alien, hold up so much.
Yeah.
Not so much the chest pusher Alien.
Right.
My kids laughed at that. I showed my kids Alien.
Yeah.
They were bored because it's so slow,
Yeah.
And then the chest pusher happened, they all laughed.
Right.
And thought it was cute. So, not so much the chest pusher, but the full xenomorph holds up.
Looks great. And I mean, that was just a dude in a rubber suit in the first one. In the second movie, they had actual budget for special effects.
The dude in the rubber suit's still better, though.
Yeah, well, I don't know.
As much as I love the Alien Queen, the original Xenomorph is still my favorite.
I like the way that the puppets moved, where you could tell it was a dude in a suit, even though he had weird proportions and was doing weird body language stuff. Ultimately, you could still tell that was a dude in a suit. The puppets move like something that was not of this world.
Yeah, that's true. So, all right, my number 1. I searched long and hard. A giant search, if you will. A very large search for my number 1. giant in all of horror movies. But at the end of the day, controversial as it may be, my number one, I could never change it. I can never put anything, including the tall man, on this list above Wadzilla from Chillerama.
Yeah, it's on my honorable mentions.
A 200-foot giant sperm destroying the whole city and eating people.
And all the masturbation jokes you can handle.
General Bukkake has to deploy a load to kill a giant sperm.
Yep.
If you guys haven't seen Chillerama, check it out.
Yeah.
Do yourself a favor. I had no idea what it was. I thought it was the other movie that's on Netflix, the Previews from Hell.
Yeah.
And I had seen that. So every time it came up, I was like, oh, that's a movie with the horror movie previews. Oh, that's a movie with the horror movie previews. And I didn't watch it for years.
Yeah.
Then it got taken off Netflix, and I found it later when I was doing research on, what do you call it? My favorite...
Anthologies?
Anthology horror. What do you call my favorite genre of horror movie? What's
Head
it called?
trauma.
I can't think of it.
Anthology horror.
Head trauma anthology horror. JD has too much concussions. Okay.
I've got
Godzilla.
Yeah, and you know, my zeros are King Kong and Godzilla because they're the OGs.
Yeah, I didn't put them on the list because it was just too
Yeah,
obvious.
They're just the obvious zero.
Yeah.
You can't go anywhere.
Godzilla
else.
should be the zero, but Wadzilla.
Wadzilla.
The best Zilla for my money is Wadzilla.
Yeah, it's a good Zilla. The only other honorable mentions I had that you didn't mention were the graboids from Tremors.
Yeah, they're on my list as well, yeah.
Giant monster there. The Kaiju in Pacific Rim, which I'm a fan of. And Tiny in House of a Thousand Corpses.
On my list as well, and he's in Devil's Rejects at the beginning a little bit too, so. You already talked about Troll Hunter, you talked about House of a Thousand Corpses and Devil's Rejects, talked about the Alien Queen, talked about the Graboids, the Brain Bug in Starship Troopers.
Oh, yeah.
Good Giant.
Yeah.
Lurch from the Addams Family, and Herman Munster.
Yeah.
Frankenstein, you could say, is a giant.
Yeah.
How giant are we talking?
That's true. He's bigger than average.
Spiders, the movie Spiders, the giant spider that gets blown up with the RPG.
Yeah, up
as
the
she's
ass.
dangling out of a helicopter on a chain, shooting a rocket-propelled grenade into a giant spider on a building. That's how I want to die.
That's over the top shit right there.
Here lies JD. He died hanging out of a helicopter by a chain system, shooting an RPG into a giant spider that was on a building, and he saved the world.
Yeah, it's a good way to go.
It is the good way to go.
We should write that to the Make-A-Wish Foundation, then tell them you have cancer, and see if they develop a giant spider for you.
No, I sometimes watch Penguins games. And as much as I support their charity and stuff, I sometimes get jealous of the Make-A-Wish kids.
Yeah.
They get to meet Phil Kessel.
Yeah.
With Getty Malkin.
Yeah.
Sidney Crosby. Pittsburgh Penguins. And these kids, just because they have something wrong with them, they get to meet these players.
Yeah.
But I have something wrong with me.
Yeah. You should meet the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Make-A-Wish. GoFundMe.com/JDH138. Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. And my last honorable mention. Didn't come up on your list. I thought it would. Almost made my list. Dagon. The monster.
Yeah.
Dagon that comes up at the end.
He's not very good, though.
He's a horrible monster, but I love the movie.
Yeah.
But that's it for Horror Movie Giants. We've done the little people, now we've done the giants. Top 5 normal-sized characters in horror. Top 5 characters between 5'5" and 6'5".
Yeah. That's a logical progression. All right, well, I guess that's it.
And we're going to sing you out of this episode here.
Yeah, we are.
You're going to hear the luscious melodies of our voices. The velvety tones of the sexual stroganoff.
But before we do that, you've already heard the commercial for our Patreon. Go check that out. If you can't give money to the Patreon, check us out on iTunes and Stitcher. Follow us there. Give us a 5-star rating. All of those things help us.
Join the Facebook group. Send us an email. postmortemshow@gmail.com. Tell us how you like the show. Say, hey, that one thing you said, that's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
And it's funny.
That's
or
offensive.
Just send me an email and let's fight. Let's just argue.
Yeah.
Send me an email. Be like, hey, fuck you. You're not the sexual stroganoff.
I'm the sexual stroganoff.
You're not the sexual stroganoff. You're the sexual hamburger helper version of stroganoff.
Oh, shit.
The instant.
Them's fighting words.
Yeah. I'm going to put it on a giant white glove and hit you with it while it's smiling the entire time.
Wow. All right. Well, I guess as H.P. Lovecraft once said, is he didn't quite go to the hospital for a couple days, but then started peeing blood. Had to have that octopus tentacle removed from being 7 inches deep into his urethra.
H.P. Lovecraft, tall and lanky. We're going to go a lot longer than 7 inches.
That's true. Urethra. Yeah. But he was racist.
After he was
and all racists have little dicks. Even the women.
But that's because he was born with an actual black dick.
Oh, is that what it is?
He was ashamed of his black dick from an early age. They used to call him Little Howard Black Dicks. Little Howard Phillips Black Dicks.
Howie Black Dick.
They saw it at the urinal one day, and he's like, "Hey, why are you even looking at it?" They're like, "I don't care, it's black."
And he never used it on anyone ever. And if it smells like fish,
throw the fucker back. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Ready for whatever this will be?
For whatever comes.
Speaking of coming, don't you ever try to put a beaded scepter down your urethra.
They're called anal beads for a reason.
Yeah, they're supposed to go in your bum, not inside of your dick. As you will now learn in this musical number, which we have prepared for you, not at all.
Not at all.
We're just going to kind of wing it.
But we're going to channel the spirit of Urethra Franklin.
We're going to give you a little bit of Post Mortem karaoke here. Oh, yeah. Dom and JD, we're here. You got some respect for my urethra?
What you want? Baby, I got what you need. You know I got it. All I'm asking is for a little respect for my urethra. Hey, baby, my urethra.
Don't put your beads in me,
mister.
Don't put your beads in me.
Ain't gonna do you wrong while you're gone. Ain't gonna do you wrong, 'cause I don't wanna. All I'm asking is for a little respect for my urethra.
Don't put your beads in me.
For my urethra.
Don't put your beads in my urethra.
Yeah, baby. I'm gonna give you all my money. All I'm asking in return, honey, is give me
my profits when you come home.
Hey, baby,
in my urethra.
It beads in it.
Don't put your beads in it.
Oh, instrumental.
Oh, yeah. And here comes Doug Jones on the saxophone. Ask Mac tonight with the saxophone solo. Take it away, Doug.
The most goddamn amazing moments in all of Post Mortem.
Ooh, your kisses. Sweeter than honey.
Sweeter than beef, too.
Guess what? So is my urethra. All I want you to do for me is don't put beads in it.
Don't put your beads in it.
When you get home,
don't put your beads in it. Don't put your beads in it.
Don't put your beads in it. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Find out what it means to me. R-E-S-P-E-C-T. Don't you put your beads in me. Just a little bit. Oh yeah! You keep trying to try it. You're running out, fool, but I ain't lying. Respect for my urethra, bitch.
Don't put your beads in me. Don't put your beads in me.
My urethra, bitch.
Don't put your beads in me. Don't put your beads in us.
Yeah.
Don't put your beads in us.
And if
respect my urethra. That's what
it matters. if you get beads stuck in your urethra, go to the doctor. Don't wait till you're peeing blood.
We condone all the kind of crazy masturbation you want to do, but please do not insert beaded objects into your urethra. Have a little bit of respect.
Yeah, and if you're going to, know your limits.
Yes.
Know
your limits. Don't go a full 7 3/4 inches if you don't have that much to offer.
Yeah. The more you know.
Taiwan takes no returns.
They do not.
All right, that's it. Thank you, guys. Don't put your beads in me.